A growing number of retired senior military officers are backing a controversial proposal to declare a state of emergency to tackle Nigeria's worsening security crisis. Now, the call was first made by former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, in a new book. He argues that a formal emergency declaration backed by the National Assembly would mobilize the full power of the state against insurgent groups like Boko Haram. Now, the proposal comes as Boko Haram attacks have intensified in the north, including the recent seizure of a border town that forced thousands to flee to Cameroon. Several other retired generals have supported the idea, stating it would free the military from political interference and provide clearer authority. However, they caution that it must be a genuine emergency and should be combined with efforts to address the root causes of terrorism, such as poverty and the illicit arms trade. Well, joining us now is the National Coordinator of Building Resilience Against Violent Extremism, Insurgency, and Terrorism, Sir Dr. A.K. Peters. He'll be analyzing the best approaches to combating insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria and the milestones of the Tinubu administration in the area of national security. Great to have you join us here on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Peters.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, the Tinubu administration has promised to reform the security doctrine with the renewed hope agenda. From your own perspective, what concrete milestones have this administration achieved that demonstrate some positive shift in the strategy that they have adopted?
Thank you so very much. The renewed hope agenda of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the area of security has reasonably and tremendously yielded a lot of positives for Nigeria. We are all aware that we have been in a terrible crisis, in a war against insurgency, terrorism, and banditry in Nigeria. There's no gainsaying that no responsible government will sleep and close its eyes without tackling this. And that is why when the administration of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu came, one of the first things they did was to look at the security architecture in the country and look at the hierarchy of the security architecture in the country, and appointed new, very competent security chiefs, men who are very vast and experienced in the issue of counter-insurgency and terrorism all across Nigeria. No small wonder the service chiefs team of the armed forces, led by General Christopher Musa, and all the other service chiefs were brought on board. Since then, so much is being done, so much have been done, reasonable grounds have been covered, much is still being done, and much is expected of them. They are doing it using different strategies, and I think reasonably, irrespective of what we see and hear, they are gaining good advantage and grounds in the fight against insurgency, terrorism, and banditry in Nigeria.
But then, I'm wondering, do you agree with the calls by retired senior military officers for the federal government, to declare a state of emergency in a bid to tackle Nigeria's security crisis, which a lot of analysts have said is worsening?
I cannot agree less. The truth is that over the years, we have reasonably left the fight against insurgency and banditry in Nigeria to the hands, in the hands of the military and other security agencies. Security is the responsibility of every citizen. A situation where we leave this only in the hands of security agencies is not reasonably correct. Recently, you will agree with me, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, published a book which he has publicly presented. That book is titled Taking a Stance Against Terrorism, Insurgency, and Banditry in Nigeria. The essence of that book is basically an admonition to Nigerian youths What is he looking at in that book? He's looking at another strategy, another option. He has clearly said that bombs and guns alone cannot end insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria. And since it is an asymmetric warfare we are engaged in, taking another strategy of, will I say, countering these bandits, insurgents, and terrorists is very, very, very important. And that is why he has looked at using Nigerian youths. Basically, it is the non-academic, non-kinetic approach. Non-kinetic approach to insurgency. Whereas on the one hand, the Chief of Defense Staff, together with his service chiefs, are not releasing their legs from the throttle. They are giving fire on the one hand. He is also thinking that we should look at the non-kinetic approach, where we do not just use bombs and guns. We can also engage the people through very robust civil-military relationship. Here he's looking at Nigerian youths. Nigerian youths are wonderful youths who really, I think, love this country and who can contribute better than they are contributing now in ending this war against insurgency and terrorism. So the call by the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, is timely, it's apt, it's very important that everybody closes ranks, everybody comes together, both personnel who are retired and those who are serving. Those who are retired have garnered so much experience, and we should not just necessarily throw away those experiences. I recall that even General Colin Powell in the United States was recalled to come and beef up the fight against, I think, the Gulf War, as it were then. So we can still do that in Nigeria. We only need to mobilize, galvanize, and get all citizens together to support the armed forces. They are our brothers. They are doing already so much and leaving everything to them and just expecting that they do miracles is not the best. The time has come, like the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, is saying, when everybody needs to close ranks, when everybody needs to come together, when all citizenry, especially our youths, will come together and join hands. There are good youths, far in excess of the very few bad youths who are fomenting troubles in Nigeria. Let us garner these resources together and see how we can tackle this fight. If we do this, I agree with CG Musa, we will gain a lot of grounds.
And speaking of galvanizing individuals, the security forces themselves, the administration has, well, not only the administration, but anybody who is paying attention to what has been happening are emphasizing the need for a cohesion, a jointness, and harmonization amongst the armed forces and security agencies and other agencies that are working to keep the country safe. Are you seeing improved synergy or coordination between these agencies or improved systems so that farther down the line there will be better coordination, maybe even the use of technology in these situations?
Among the armed forces, there is good coordination. You see, again, it takes me to what the Chief of Defense Staff said earlier on. And I think I agree with him. And it is the way to go. It is high time we started fencing the Nigerian borders, especially beginning with our borders in the north. It may take us 15 years. It may take us 20 years. It may take us 5 years. But let us start fencing the Nigerian borders. That way, we can leverage on technology, good technology, and handle all of this. Because most of what we battle with or contend with are not all from Nigeria. Now, talking about the fencing of borders and talking about synergy, collaboration, and working together with sister security agencies like the Nigerian Customs, the Chief of Defense Staff and the Nigerian Armed Forces have always called on other sister agencies to come together. We need the efforts of the Nigerian Immigration or Nigerian Immigration Service so that unwanted elements will no longer be having access, unfettered access into our porous borders, as it were. We need the Nigerian Customs Service such that there is so much proliferation of small arms and ammunition into this country. And these arms and ammunitions are getting into the hands of those who are not supposed to have them. That is why we have issues. I want to commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is one of the milestones and grounds he has covered. The milestone of what? Signing into law the establishment of the Nigerian Forest Guards, called the Nigerian Forest Security Service. We need them. These are people who come from local communities. These are people who are hunters and rangers within the local communities. They know these various porous borders and know where the routes through which these people come into the country. Leveraging on this and working with other security agencies, it will go a long way. See, there is one security agency we don't seem to be taking very seriously. And I think they are doing so much. And we need to collaborate with them holistically. And that is the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Central to the issue of insurgency, banditry, and terrorism is the use of drugs. Drug is actually like an oxygen. Drugs is actually like a bivort that propels a lot of these things. So when we step up this intelligence and see where these drugs come from, how they move, and together with the DSS and other security agencies working together, I think it will really give the kind of results that we are expecting. Going forward, that is what I think we should be doing.
Now, Dr. Peters, how well has Nigeria collaborated with international partners in the fight against insecurity? And what future collaborations can Nigeria pursue to enhance its counter-terrorism potentials?
Currently, you are aware that we are not doing this alone. The West African sub-region stands very much with us, partnering with our neighboring countries like the Republic of Niger, the Republic of Chad, and other countries within the sub-region, Cameroon and all of them. It will be very difficult for you, especially in the issue of insurgency and terrorism, to begin and end within the enclaves of your territorial boundaries. Why? Because these people are fluid. These people are not sedentary. These people move across borders and across regions. It is important that this collaboration that the ECOWAS is having and leveraging on the good relationship with our neighboring country, that we strengthen it. Now, going further, at the level of Africa, at the level of the United Nations, it is important also that we step up what we are doing in Africa. I do not believe that we should have the military from other countries come to train our military. The Nigerian military is well trained, especially on these issues of infantry. One of the major ways where we really need to collaborate with some other countries also is in terms of terrorism financing, which you can see that the government is doing a lot now. But I know the government still needs to do much, because these people do not just operate in isolation. They are being financed by some persons, some nationally, others, very importantly, internationally. And there is a need for the government to continue working very assiduously with its partners and friends in the international community to nip this at the bud.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you so much, Dr. A.K. Peters, of the National Coordinator of the Building Resilience Against Violent Extremism, Insurgency, and Terrorism. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsday.